Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. This week we are making another great fermented recipe, and that is kimchi. Now kimchi is a traditional Korean side dish made with fermented vegetables, and there are many different recipes, but all should contain the same base ingredient, and that is nappa cabbage. Now this is a great recipe if you enjoy sauerkraut but you want something with a bit more of an extra kick. This might just be it. Now you want to start by halving and quartering your cabbage and giving it a good wash between all of the leaves, including right down at the end, as dirt and bugs can get deep between them. Then you want to shake and pat dry and then cut into bite-sized pieces and then place it in a large bowl and heavily salt and toss to coat. Then you want to let this sit covered and give a good mix and a good turn every 30 minutes to an hour for around 2 to 3 hours. Next comes your vegetables of choice. Now you can of course do it with just the cabbage if you want, but a variety of vegetables works better as this gives a lot of a different texture. Now personally I chose to add in some carrots, some green onions and some Daikon radish. Now how you cut them is completely up to you of course. You can either slice, dice, julienne, cut into matchsticks. This is just going to determine the end texture of your kimchi, so giving a nice variety of different slices can actually add to a nice texture for a final product. Now once your cabbage has sat, you want to give it a wash and drain all of the water off, and then combine it with the rest of the vegetables in the bowl. Next up is your spice blend and seasoning for the kimchi. Now you can optionally make a paste from 1 to 2 teaspoons of rice flour. Now if you can't get rice flour, you can use a white flour. That will work, but it will have a slightly different texture. And then mix with 1 cup or 250 ml of water and combine the two. Then just heat until the mixture thickens. Now you don't have to do this, but this just adds to a nice base for this to help coat your vegetables. Then you want to add that to a food processor with a few cloves of garlic, chopped onion, and the most important ingredient is your red pepper flakes. Now these will vary somewhat between different red pepper flakes, but you want to try and aim to get mild Korean red pepper flakes. Now as shown in the video, you can basically eat these as they are, but they are dried, so you know it does kind of take all the saliva out of your mouth. Now if you are going to use very hot ones, you want to of course use a lot less. Now as I am using the mild ones, I am using roughly 1/4 cup or 100 grams. And if you are using much spicier ones, you want to use maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon depending on your personal taste. Then you just want to give this a good blend to form a nice uniform paste and pour over your combined vegetables, and then give a good mix to fully coat. Now if your mix still feels a bit dry, you can add in a splash more water as you want this to be fairly wet as it is, but not dripping wet. Now as this does ferment, the kimchi and the vegetables in it will release more water. Next you want to place your kimchi mix in a clean sterilized jar, and either with your hands or a vegetable muddler, you want to press down on the vegetables and try and get it under any produced liquid. Now the chances are that as this ferments, the vegetables are going to rise up due to the CO2 being produced. Now you can help prevent this by filling a sandwich bag with water and placing it on top of your vegetables in the jar. This will just hold everything down below the water. Then you want to loosely place on the lid. You don't want to tightly place this on as this is going to be producing gases. And then you want to let this sit somewhere out of the way for 3 to 4 days and up to 2 weeks depending on the texture you want. Now the longer you let this sit, the softer the vegetable will be. Now after fermenting, you want to place this in the fridge. This is going to slow down or even stop the fermentation process, and this should be stable in the fridge for a couple of months, some say up to 6 months. Now, as for uses for kimchi, you can eat it as it is, you can top it with rice, you can add sesame seeds to the top of it, you can turn it into a stew, or you can even blend it into a sauce for pasta. Now, there are many more different uses for kimchi. Just search kimchi uses on Google, and I'm sure you will find something that fits you. But anyway, that wraps up this week's video. If you like what you saw, let me know down below with a like and a comment. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe for free weekly cooking content, and I will see you all again next week. Thanks for watching.